implement, indebted to the past, committed to the future. In a moment, National Farmers Union President Rob Larew.
Would you like to see something done about high gas prices and low unemployment? Western Plains Energy in Campus, Kansas is doing something about it. They're a proud part of Growth Energy, America's ethanol supporters, and they employ 38 people and will be adding more following the expansion. Ethanol fuel not only reduces the cost of regular gasoline, it's good for the environment and keeps money right here in the United States while supporting local rural jobs. Western Plains Energy, doing something for the future.
The cost of everything has gone up dramatically over the last 75 years. With one exception: keeping electricity affordable.
Wheatland Electric, delivering energy for life, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Well, we were able to come to the Kansas Farmers Union annual meeting in Salina and joined now by Rob Larew, who is the president of the National Farmers Union. Rob, welcome to Kansas.
It's good to be here. Thanks.
All right, let's talk about Farmers Union and the issues. I think are like every other ag organization. You know, what's the mess that is D.C., Farm Bill, farmers wanting some sort of security. Do you think we're anywhere close to giving farmers security?
You know, if there's one thing that I think everybody can agree that Congress is really good at these days, and it's kicking the can down the road. And in this case, it's actually bought us a little bit of time to try to get a farm bill done. That's probably the best news that we can hope for right now. But I tell you, as we look at next year, I think most folks would agree it's going to be really tough to get one through with a presidential election going on. So really, I think the push right now from a lot of farm groups is to try to get one done as early in the year as possible.
There is some talk I'm hearing that maybe February, maybe even March, once we kind of get the holidays out of the way, that text will finally be released, and then kind of the real fights can begin. But it's kind of exactly what you're saying. At least out here in the country, folks think that something needs to get done. If it doesn't by July, you're out of luck again.
Well, I think that's true, not just because of the politics, actually.
Okay.
We know about the impact of the election and so forth. But I tell you, when you have still the spending bills, like the ag spending bill will be one of the first things that has to come up early in the year, even before we get to a farm bill. And then if we slide just a little bit beyond February, Congressional Budget Office may do a new estimate of the farm bill and what impact that might have on the dollars for each of the titles there may kind of throw a new wrench in the process and could delay us further. But certainly the hope right now is that we can find a path to get it passed in both the House and the Senate.
We're going to get some of the spending bills done, and agriculture seems like has been almost part of that tug of war between that and the FDA and
Absolutely.
What about the rest of them?
Well, I like your confidence in the way of we're going to get those spending bills done. I want to believe that, but I tell you, the fact is that the politics that we saw going into the fall and into this winter, particularly in the House, was still a fight over. We have a new speaker right now. Are we going to be able to keep that speaker going in? Are they going to be able to have the votes to get anything through? These spending bills are going to be really controversial. So, if he can still hold it together, the current speaker, Johnson, I think, we stand a chance to get that done, to get the people's business done, and then turn our attention to getting a farm bill done. The other thing that you kind of hinted at is the fact that I think most folks agree that much of the farm bill is already kind of written, right? We need to kind of maybe negotiate a little bit to get the votes. Really what we're looking for is not so much the language on the bill, but getting that time on the floor and the political will to get it done.
Mm-hmm. Rob Larew is president of the National Farmers Union. He is at the Kansas Farmers Union annual meeting. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
When you've had a best friend for over 50 years, you develop a trust. And the Scott Co-op has been a trusted rural friend since 1957. A co-op keeps money in the area, doing business for and with their members. And that helps keep their hometown thriving with keeping money in the community. Scott Co-op is not just an elevator. It's the rural way of doing business. So, when you see an elevator, remember your friends at Scott Co-op. S&S Trailer Sales, with 2 locations in Ness City, Kansas, is where everybody goes to buy or rent trailers. They feature the all-new, all-aluminum Mauer grain trailer with all of the electric options, the easy-to-load detached trailers, and a huge stock of header trailers. At the west location, you'll find bumper poles, goosenecks, and oilfield specialty trailers, along with flat and utility beds for pickups. S&S Trailer Sales in Ness City and on the web, but remember, you do have to spell out the "and."
And Rob Larew, the president of the National Farmers Union, joining us from the Kansas Farmers Union meeting in Salina. And Rob, we get so focused on the Farm Bill and these other issues. There are other things that need to be tackled. And this administration has done an awful lot when it comes to climate. We've got other international meetings moving forward. Farmers Union is one of those groups that's right in there when it comes to where agriculture is going to land in all these situations.
Well, I tell you, we talk a lot about the impacts of climate and the role that farmers can play in mitigating a lot of those impacts, and the really positive role that farmers, that livestock play in this whole picture. And much of what is sometimes missing in conversations, both here in the U.S., I would argue, and globally, is the farmer's voice. And so Farmers Union, along with some others, plan to be part of the global conversations going on right now, coming up in Dubai. It's the so-called COP28. But we need as much unity right now among farm groups on this as possible, because that voice is going to be really critical.
Okay. Now let's go back domestically, and some of that issue is dealing with renewable fuels.
Absolutely.
There's been that back and forth of, again, almost a tug of war, if you will, between different sides on where we're heading with the renewable fuel standard. Will that finally be settled? Because farmers are growing crops for these renewable fuels, but if we don't have kind of, again, those all groups coming together, it's not helpful.
No, but at the same time, the thing that farmers have on their sides with renewable fuels is the fact that the science is there, it is climate friendly, climate smart, and it really is an economic engine in a lot of these rural communities. So we'd like to see a little bit stronger support for biofuels, for example, within this administration. We're continuing to push that message out there. But again, trying to bring that unity among a lot of the players out there is really what's going to be critical in the climate conversation in general, particularly on renewable fuels, but also on conservation programs, et cetera. A number of us that come together. Certainly, we partner and co-chair with Farm Bureau, one of the climate consortiums there, and as part of that, it is all about making sure that folks understand we need to have voluntary, incentive-based, and science-driven solutions here.
Now, you're here in Kansas. I'm sure you're going to other state meetings. What message are you telling the rank and file members of Farmers Union?
Well, hold on to your horses because, each farm bill, if we're talking about farm bills, each farm bill always has its own challenges. This one is particularly unique right now, but we've just got to keep our eye on the prize here. We cannot get into a cycle. While we need to have a farm bill done, we also have to make sure we're using this opportunity to get the right farm bill, get that safety net in there, making sure that crop insurance is as strong as possible, making sure that all of the programs are going to set us up for as much protection as possible for the next 5 years. Nobody could have predicted what we've seen over the last 5 years, and so we really need to use this opportunity to make sure that this next farm bill can set us up for as much success as possible. That's the message that I delivered to Oklahoma yesterday, Kansas today. It'll be on to South Dakota tomorrow.
All right, very good, Rob. Well, thanks again for coming. Sure appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Rob Larew, president of the National Farmers Union, has joined us. We'll be back with more coming up in just a moment. Stay with us.
Wolfter Construction and Irrigation has been around a long time, and a lot of folks have trusted them to design, build, and service all sizes of commercial and on-farm storage for grain and equipment. Wolfter is also known for their outstanding irrigation division, where they stock a complete selection of nozzles, regulators, drops, gear drives, electrical, and structure components. Looking for an electric motor? Wolfter has a large selection in single and three-phase. Next time, reach out to the pros who have decades of experience at taking care of business the right way. Wolfter Construction and Irrigation.
KBUF Radio has agriculture information weekdays beginning at 6 with Agriculture Today. Then 7 to 11 is the KBUF Morning Show, where we interview newsmakers, have the latest commodity information, markets, weather, and more to try to help you make good decisions on the farm and ranch. Follow along on our social media pages, or you can listen to KBUF or any Western Kansas broadcast station online, westernkansasnews.com. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching.